Hey guys, so the big question you've all been asking yourself since I did an overview of the Zpacks poles, and the number one question I got is, are they the same thing practically as the Cascade Mountain Tech poles? So I reached out to Cascade Mountain Tech, we'll call them CMT from here on out, CMT, to just have a look at their poles so I can do a direct comparison with the Zpacks poles. They're very similar in some aspects, like most trekking poles are, because they're trekking poles. There's only so much design that you can do. But let's go over the similarities first. And there's one major similarity. The handle. The EVA foam handle is pretty much identical. Except for color, it's the same handle. I cannot tell a difference. The wrist padding, everything looks exactly the same. The adjustment, exactly the same. There's no difference that I could find. So maybe there's a difference in quality, but I doubt it. It feels exactly the same to me. But that's kind of where it ends. The poles get pretty different. Of course, they're different price. The CMT poles are about $50, and you can sometimes get them from cheaper. Whereas the Zpacks poles are $50 thereabouts for one pole. The pair for $50, one pole $50. And so that's where the similarities ends, though. The big thing you'll notice right away is that the CMT poles are significantly heftier when you pick them up compared to the Zpacks poles. And so for a pair of CMT poles, they're about 3 ounces heavier for the pair when compared to the Zpacks poles. So, you know, typically I don't carry my trekking poles, so to me that's not a big difference. It's kind of a wash. But good to know if you do carry your poles a bunch. Also, the CMT poles are a thicker diameter pole. And so you notice that right away as soon as you hold it or grasp it. And I don't have calipers with me, but it's significantly beefier or chunkier than the Zpacks poles, which makes sense when you think about it being heavier. So that's another difference. Another big one I noticed was the overall length fully collapsed of the CMT poles is different than the Zpacks poles. So, you know, you're talking about an inch or two difference. To me, that once again, not significant, but it is a difference between the poles, which suggests that it's either, if it's the same manufacturer, it's a significantly different pole design. And the last major feature that I think was different is the adjustments. Right here, these hand tighten adjustments are practically the same, but the clasps are significantly different. And the reason I mention that is that I've tried both these poles out. I've used the Zpacks poles more, but I find the Zpacks poles are easier to kind of lock down when you're done adjusting them. The reason why is because they have a wider clasp area for your finger or your thumb, whatever you're using to close the clasps with, whereas the CMT poles have a significantly thinner area for your thumb. I'm not sure what the thinking was behind that design, because it made it a little bit more difficult when you really wanted to lock it down, that you just couldn't really push on it or push on that clasp more easily. So something to keep in mind. Another big plus for the CMT poles, of course, and I'm not knocking them because these are great value poles. You're talking $50 for a pair of carbon fiber poles is a pretty good deal. I'll leave a link, of course, to CMT poles in the description below if you do want to check those out. If you buy a pair of CMT poles, they come with a ton of accessories. So the Zpacks pole, for example, came with a road rubber tip and a small snow basket. And these threads are kind of universal. I tried the CMT poles, the CMT snow baskets on the Zpacks poles, and they work. But the CMT poles, my gosh, they just came with, I pretty much had a bag full of accessories. We had road rubber tips. We had 2 different sizes of snow baskets. We had kind of a claw type rubber road tip. And so I had a gallon Ziploc bag full of accessories from the CMT poles. Another difference to me, and this is completely subjective, I get that, is overall fit and finish. To me, the Zpacks poles have a better fit and finish than the CMT poles. It just seems more polished. For example, if we look at the kind of connections where it meets up, You notice there's no slack at all once I have these locked down, and I do have these tightened up like I'm going to go out and use them. It just has a better overall fit. Whereas the CMT pulls are not bad, but I do have these locked down as tight as they can go, and there's some slack in the pulls. There's some play here and there. It doesn't seem like the clasps lock down as quite as tightly as they need to sometimes. It hasn't slipped for me from the time I've tried it, and it still has that play in the pull. So overall fit and finish, I'd have to give the Zpacks pull in this comparison. You know, it's just something that's finicky and subjective, I know, if someone's deciding between a more expensive trekking pole, which the Zpacks is, and it kind of though fits into the range of what I consider to be more expensive trekking poles, like the Black Diamond, the Lecky poles, those sort of things. Whereas the CMT poles are squarely in kind of quality, but budget trekking pole territory. But the big question was, are they the same pole? I don't think so. They're similar as trekking poles go because they're trekking poles, but I think they're two completely different pole designs. At least to my eye, it seems that it's significantly different enough for me to say it's not really the same trekking pole. Thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully that answered the whole host of questions I've gotten about the Zpacks pole and how it compares to the CMT pole. So, thanks for watching, guys. Peace.